This video contains 3 tutorials from my most popular course, the Essential Topology Guide. The full course contains 41 tutorials and 4 hours of training, with extra content yet to be added. If you'd like to start learning how to master professional topology, you can get 35% off with the promo code SAVE35. Or for an even better deal, you can actually get this course and the Essential Material Guide for the price of one course. Just pick up the Essential Blender Bundle and use the code BUNDLE40 at checkout. Here's a little quick tip. Blender has an excellent built-in function called Scale by Normals. It's a way that you can change the scale of a piece of geometry without changing its shape. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Let's say we were modeling, like, I don't know, it's going to be some sort of like can, maybe like an oil can type thing, like this. Okay, you've modeled this and you realize that actually you want this part to be a little bit fatter. Well, that shouldn't be a problem at all, right? We can scale it, and we can press Shift and Z to lock the Z axis, and we can just make that fatter or skinnier. That isn't a problem. But what if we wanted to make this entire piece thicker? Well, we couldn't just scale it because that's going to scale the entire thing and mess everything up. We can't lock out the Z axis, because if we do that, it's still going to be moving on the X and the Y. And any other axis that you try to look out, it's going to do the same thing. But if you scale by normals, which you can access with Alt and S, now everything will increase or decrease in scale, but it'll keep the same shape. This is one of those functions that I didn't find out about in Blender for a long time, and I think is incredibly useful. Another thing that I find it really useful for, let's say you have a shape like this, and you've confirmed it, you can't edit the shape anymore, and you realize that actually you want it to be a bit chunkier. You can use Alt and S, and just increase or decrease the scale on that. And you can obviously do just segments as well. And then they'll have like a fatter segment at the bottom, which is made to impact against the door. Right, so do that smooth. So that's a really easy way that you can just manage topology a lot easier. In Module 1, I talked about cylinders quite extensively, but there is still some more that I want to say. For instance, how do you make the sort of fitting that you often see, which connects pipes at a 90-degree rotation from each other? I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's say we have a cylinder, and I'm going to keep this low poly, so I'm just going to use 16 verts, so there'll be less for us to do. And I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees, and then let's say we have another one, which is at this sort of angle. How would you make a fitting that would connect to these two different shapes? Well, the important thing here, I think this is the method that everyone uses. This is what I always see people use. You want to make sure that these are both the same height, which if you make a new cylinder, as standard, they will be. But this can be as skinny as you like. So I can scale this, but I'm going to use Shift and Z, which will lock out the Z axis. And I can make this any width that I like. I think I'll make it just a little bit skinnier and move it somewhere around here. Right, so all I'm going to do is go into side view here. I'm going to add a loop cut, and I have vertex mode enabled for the snapping. So once I add a loop cut, I can hold down Control and just snap it to a corresponding vert on this other cylinder. And I'm going to do that for every single one of these verts. And if you mess it up like that, you can just double tap G to slide it again. Right, and then I'm going to go into top view, select this one. I'm going to do the same thing. You do want to make sure that you get every single one of these lined up. If you don't, this won't work, frankly, it'll look a mess. Right, so now I'm going to select both of these and use Control J to join them together. We can auto smooth now as well. So all I want to do is go into wireframe mode, face selection. I'm going to select half of the new faces that we just made in the middle, the ones that line up. Then I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to select half of this side. So this is the selection I've just made. I haven't got the top or the bottom of this cylinder, but I've got all of one side. And I've got just the faces we made on one side in the middle here. So then I'm going to use Control and E, and we have an option here for bridge edge loops. Press that, that'll just connect those both together. Now, low poly wise, that looks fine. But once you add a subdivision surface, let's add 3 levels, that is going to kind of mess things up. So all we have to do is add some supporting loops though. So the first one I'm going to add is around here. I'm just going to pull that down to about there. And then I'm going to add a supporting loop here and here. Select both these and scale them in to make sure that it's even. And add another one here and here. And scale these out. I mean, you can always just eyeball it as well, I suppose, but I'm going to select both these and inset them. I'm going to select this and inset them onto there. So that's your basic sort of thing, but what you can always do, and what I would normally do in this scenario, usually it's for a pipe fitting, so you would have a pipe going this direction and one going this direction. So you can just select the top and the bottom, use Control E and bridge those again, and that will actually give you the hole for the connection. I'm just going to add a loop cut, and I'm going to bevel them to add the supporting loops. Add a supporting loop there as well. You can do the same thing on this side. Loop cut and bevel. And that's how you make that sort of connection. If we take a look at the normals for this, we have lovely shading on it, and it's actually reasonably low poly. You can have just 2 levels of subsurf. In fact, 1 level of subsurf doesn't look too bad, but with 2 levels, it's going to look really nice and smooth. So let's take a minute to talk about how you fill in a face with quad topology if it's a large n-gon, which is a pretty complex shape. This is a problem that I come across quite often, especially when I'm trying to make ornate details. Quite often what I'll do is I'll model out the basic shape, and then I want to sculpt on top of it, which requires some nice, clean, dense topology. So the first thing that you might be thinking, I have this butterfly here, which is made up of edges. You might just think, well, obviously you can fill that with a face, which is true. But like I said, if you need to sculpt on this, this is no good because you need lots of faces to sculpt. And also this isn't going to deform properly because this is all one edge, which is going to get bent and it's going to shade weird. And this is just no good. So what you can do is use Alt and F, which will cut the whole thing up into triangles. And then you can use Alt and J, which will turn as many faces as possible into quads. But as you can see here, Blender really doesn't know how it's supposed to turn this into quads, and it's mostly just left a load of triangles. Not only that, but the triangles are all different sizes, so you're going to get some really bad deformations, and it's still no good for sculpting. So what other options do we have? Well, the first thing that we can do, if we move this over to here, is we can select everything and fill this again. Then we can add a plane, make it just a little bit larger than the thing that we're trying to cut up into quads, move it up, and we can add, say, 30 loop cuts in either direction. Select everything and press delete, and then delete only the faces. That'll leave us this wireframe grid made entirely of edges. And then we can select this butterfly, hold down Control and select this mesh, and I'm going to press 7, which takes me into top view orthographic mode. It's important that you're in orthographic mode and that you're in a view where you're looking straight on for this. And all we need to do is just press mesh and go knife, project. Get rid of this grid now. It should say that the entire thing has been cut up nicely. Now, this is going to cause some n-gons in certain areas because this literally has just cut everything left and right, which means the edges are going to be a bit of a mess. So what you want to do is go into either the options and turn on auto merge, or now we actually have an icon for that, which is this one. And then you just want to try and select as many of these problematic edges, verts as you can, double tap G, and just slide them to their neighbors to merge them in. What you might have to do as well is go through some areas and manually cut them up. There's certain parts where you might just want to get rid of different things. Right, so if you see anything that's can't be merged because it's a detail that you need to keep, what you might have to do instead is just figure out how exactly you're going to turn this into quads using the sorts of methods that we've covered in this video series already. So that works pretty well. It can be a little bit long-winded though, Another option that I like is to fill everything with F and use the remesh modifier. Put that under smooth. Now that'll make everything disappear. The reason it's disappeared is because remesh is based on volume essentially. So because the flat face has no volume, it doesn't know what to do. So I'm going to solidify this and move this above the remesh modifier. And that will give us this weird looking bat signal thing. And then we can bring the detail back just by increasing this depth. Now, to make this a little bit easier, what you can do is go down to viewport display, just turn on wireframe so we can actually see what we're doing here. And we have some options that aren't really going to make much of a difference, right? You can turn on shade smoothing there. The scale does exactly what you'd expect it to do. It changes the scale of this grid. And once you've got something that you're happy with, what I would suggest, you can see it's kind of bending the whole thing. If I increase the thickness, it's trying to like sharpen off these edges, round off the edges, sorry. What I would do is use a very, very small number. Yeah, like 0.0001. We can apply those. And then you can just merge this by distance. I'm going to use a slightly larger number, well, technically double the size of what I used before. What that'll do is that'll just make everything perfectly flat. And just to make sure it is, I'm going to select everything and press scale for like S, Z, and 0. Whoops. Just to make sure that this is completely flat. So now, once again, we have some nice quad topology. And it deforms nicely, and we can go over to the sculpting mode. And it sculpts pretty nicely too, because it's got the same density of vertices everywhere on the surface. And as you can see, it's all quads, and it looks pretty good. If you found this video helpful and you would like to access over 40 tutorials just like this, remember to check out the link in the description and use the code SAVE35 at checkout. Or if you get the Essential Blender Bundle, use the code BUNDLE40 and you will essentially get 2 courses for less than the price of one.